The infamous Xcelerator disaster, the fate of Kyle Wheeler. I figured we would go ahead and react to another roller coaster-esque video. I actually do love roller coasters. I have a good time on them. It's just I do have that sense about me that I actually do kind of fear roller coasters. But we're going to go ahead and dive into this video, guys. Of course, if you're new around here, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you have not, go support the original video and give them a lot of love too, obviously. So let's go ahead and dive into this, guys, and I'll give you guys my personal thoughts during and, of course, after the video.
In September of 2009, a day out at Knott's Berry Farm
September
for the Wheeler
16th.
family turned into a harrowing nightmare when 12-year-old Kyle and his father Russell boarded the Xcelerator roller coaster. The ride, which had opened in 2002, was a fan favourite in the park, and due to its unique hydraulic design, could go from 0 to 82 miles per hour in a matter of seconds.
Oof.
However, 4 seconds after the train left the station, a gruesome incident occurred as one of the launch cables snapped and whipped towards Kyle. The whole thing was caught on camera, but what exactly happened that day and what caused the cable to snap?
Ooh.
Let's talk about it.
Holy shit.
This is the infamous Xcelerator disaster, the fate of Kyle Wheeler.
Yeah, roller coaster accidents are they're certainly not, I mean, they're rare to happen, but they certainly do happen, and they have happened a lot over the years. I am pretty effing positive we've had a lot of accidents on certain roller coasters. I think the Son of Beast was actually one of them from like Kings Island quite a while back, and to the point where they actually just had to shut it down. Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. It had a lot of issues.
In December of 2001, Knott's Berry Farm, located in Buena Park, California, announced its highly anticipated replacement for the Windjammer Surf Racers roller coaster. This would be the Xcelerator, and with Intamin at the helm and $13 million to spend, there was no way it could disappoint, and it certainly didn't. As described on the Knott's Berry Farm website, rocket from 0 to 82 miles per hour in 2.3 seconds as you fly 205 feet into the air, before immediately hurtling 90 degrees straight down on Xcelerator the Ride roller coaster at Knott's Berry Farm. Xcelerator was unique to the park and to Intamin, as it was their first hydraulically launched roller coaster. A hydraulically launched roller coaster is an amusement ride that uses hydraulic fluid pressure to rapidly accelerate the train from a standstill to high speeds within seconds. 7 months after it was announced, Xcelerator opened to the public on June the 22nd, 2002. The track length was 2,202 feet, and the duration of the ride would last 1 minute and 2 seconds. The ride was inspired by the greasers culture of the 1950s, and as stated on their website, from the minute you enter the station, you're transported back to the time of greasers, beatniks, and cubes. The safety restraints include a hydraulically operated T-bar lap bar restraint, and a seatbelt, which are checked by operators before the train is released.
At least they have more than what the freaking Diamondback had. When I remember riding Diamondback for the first time, and they put that small snake head. I was a bigger kid at the time too. They put that snake head in front of me, and I grabbed it, and I'm like, "There's no seatbelts or anything. This is it." And he looked at me and he's like, "That's it." And I just said, "That's ridiculous," because I was already so nervous to get on it anyways. At least this one, you know, that you have actual bars on the side of you. The thing comes all the way in, and kind of, if it looks more secure, like you'll actually feel a little bit more safe on this thing than you would something like Diamondback. But Diamondback is still a blast. I mean, I've never read it again. Don't get me wrong, but it was still a blast.
2 trains and 5 cars, and 20 people can ride at any given time. And before the incident in 2009, the safety record on the Xcelerator was good. They did have one incident in 2004 where the ride was briefly shut down due to deaths on other rides, prompting officials to step in and refurbish the potentially defective T-bar restraint system, but it opened a few months later and continued to be a fan favourite in the park for many years to come. Rarely, a train may not gain enough speed to clear the 205-foot climb, causing it to stall and roll back onto the launch track where magnetic brakes stop it. The ride is designed for this, and it can be caused by weather, weight, or overheating. This will come of importance later on in the video.
Yeah, I had a feeling. Yeah, it seems like the parts of it, or the part I was just mentioning, had like received a lot of damage over the years, and they probably did not change or check it too often, if I had to guess. They probably thought, hey, you know what, this part is going to be good for a long time. Let's just go ahead, put it in there. We don't have to worry about it for a few years. And then all of a sudden, the wear and tear on it kind of just made it snap one day. And really do some damage. Yeah, when roller coasters are built, you have to actually go through and check these parts every. I would even say like maybe like a month, once a month is stretching it, but I feel like that's not even that stretching it because you can really get someone killed by these kind of things, and you should always make sure that every singular part of these machines are okay and 100% good before you just start letting people run on in and ride it. Because accidents can happen, and certainly in like this situation, an accident happened, and yeah, you gotta keep on that. I would certainly never want to own a theme park like this, I would never want to have an amusement park like this. Where I'd be too scared to get that phone call that someone got killed on one of my roller coasters. It'd be too intense, too scary.
On the 16th of September 2009, 12-year-old Kyle Wheeler, along with his father Russell and mother Anita Wheeler, visited Knott's Berry Park for a day out. Knott's Berry Farm, located in California, started as a berry farm in the 1920s and evolved into America's first theme park. They were visiting from Weaverville, which is located in Buncombe County, North Carolina. The family spent the day at the park enjoying the various rides it had to offer, and at approximately 4 p.m, Kyle and his father Russell boarded the Xcelerator. The two sat in the front row, whilst Anita watched from the sidelines. Now remember, this was a hydraulically launched roller coaster, so when it set off fast. 4 seconds after the train left the station, one of the launch cables snapped. Once it snapped, it viciously whipped out towards Kyle Wheeler and his dad, splitting the car in half. Metal debris along with the cable flew towards Kyle, slashing his calf at 80 miles per hour. Anita, who was watching on in horror, said, "I literally thought that I had just watched my son and husband die in front of my eyes." Kyle was now screaming in pain, as his dad was yelling frantically for ride operators to stop the ride. In a recorded video of the incident, you can see the moment Kyle's face turns from excitement to pure fear, yet remarkably, he keeps his composure. As one of the launch cables snapped, the ride did not gain enough momentum to clear the 205-foot drop, causing it to roll back, and once it did, the ride operator realised something was wrong and stopped the ride. After the ride was stopped, his father ran to get help and emergency services were called. Kyle was transported to hospital and was seriously injured. Another man on the roller coaster was also transported to hospital after complaining of back pain. The ride was immediately shut down, and an investigation was launched. After the incident, Knott's Berry Farm released a statement saying, "The cable on the Xcelerator ride is changed regularly. It was last changed in December 2008 and is good for 1 year. It was not due to be changed until December." They maintain that regular maintenance was done and also went on to say, "More than 10 million people have ridden the Xcelerator at Knott's Berry Farm over the past 8 years, and this is the first time something like this has happened." However, investigators found this to be false. It came to light that in 2004, a launch cable snapped on a similar ride known as the Top Thrill Dragster, which injured 4 people. Meanwhile, experts from the California Division of Occupational Safety and Health were brought in to examine the ride. It would take them 6 months to conclude their investigation. Ultimately, they found that the incident could have been completely prevented if the cables were maintained properly. They blamed the theme park and the ride manufacturer Intamin. The investigators claimed the maintenance instructions were too confusing and they couldn't determine if the ride needed to be inspected every month or every 6 months. It turns out it was every month.
Look at that. I was actually kind of right. It needed to be inspected every month. Wow, and they didn't change it they were hoping that it would last a year every time. No, it needs to be inspected to see if there's any sort of wear and tear on it long before that. Crazy. That is absolutely insane. Yeah, if I was the father, I'd have sued the shit out of this place. I would have sued them for everything they had. If that was my kid, oh my god, fuck that dude. That would be a scary situation. Right before the ride starts, that happens. You don't even know if the ride's going to continue and keep going or stop. You have no idea. So like you're just sitting there screaming your head off, hoping and praying that someone hears you to stop the ride. My son is hurt. Almost feels like they should have had someone, like an inspector, come in before they put the ride up to make sure that this is what they needed to do, instead of just assuming this is what we needed to do. Like, have professionals come in and tell you, hey, what you would probably want to do is go ahead and check this every month, not like once a year.
Knott's Berry Farm inspected the ride every 6 months. However, even though Knott's Berry Farm believed the inspections were to take place every 6 months, They were still 19 days late by the time the incident happened, meaning 19 days before Kyle and his father got onto the ride. The cable should have been inspected and changed. The park released a statement saying, "The investigation identified shortcomings in the manufacturer's instructions regarding the inspection and maintenance of the cable. The state agency had required Knott's Berry Farm to put in place additional safeguards to determine cable viability and to work with the manufacturer to revise maintenance instructions." The report also indicated that the broken cable showed severe fatigue and discovered that the impact of the accident sheared off 18 out of the 20 magnets located on the bottom of the coaster cars used for launching and braking.
If we look at it right there, I'm assuming that's the cable that snapped. That cable looks, not even just the part where I can obviously see where it snapped, like right here. Look at that. That I'm assuming that's the part of it that snapped, and the rest of it is just sitting there. Even then, dude, look at the wear and tear on this thing. This thing looks like it is ancient, or at least it was damn near ready to be switched out. And they kind of just let it slide for that long. Look how fucked it looks.
Whilst this investigation was going on, it was clear to all that the Wheeler family's lives would change forever. Kyle remained in hospital for months, undergoing multiple surgeries to repair the damage done. He had skin grafts and underwent months of physiotherapy, and thankfully, he regained function in his knee and ankle. His mother said, "This whole experience has been terribly hard on my whole family. I am overwhelmed with emotion most days." She went on to say, "I can't talk about it without crying. It was horrible."
Now, yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
During his time in hospital...
Yeah, that's probably the scariest concept of the whole situation, is that it could have been so much worse. And you're going to be thinking about that so much. Like, he got off lucky. If that cable would have, like, aimed up and hit his face or something, that could have killed him. He could have been dead right there. But it's good that he recovered. It's good that he pulled through and made it. But yeah, that could have been so much worse. But it's scary. Yeah.
The Wheeler family received bills of up to $60,000. But thankfully, they reached an undisclosed settlement with the park to cover this, as well as the emotional distress caused. Kyle went on to make a full recovery, and the Xcelerator would go on to reopen in 2010 and remains open to this day. As always, this is not an AI channel, I do everything myself, and if you appreciate my work, subscribe, and if you want to go the extra step to support the channel...
I'll subscribe to your channel, man. That was pretty interesting. That was pretty entertaining. I dig it. Alright. Yeah, it's crazy. The maintenance wasn't being kept up on the ride, and that's probably why. And that's not probably, that is why the ride snapped like that. Pretty unfortunate. Pretty unfortunate. Yeah, theme parks are, I have no doubt, like, you know, they're fun and great and everything. They're a big joy to go to, but I couldn't imagine the stress of running one of those places. Like, yeah, they make so much money, but if anything goes wrong, you're responsible. Like, if you're the head honcho, you're responsible for the teams that inspect your rides, for everything. Oh man, the stress would be so much. Okay, so they received bills up to $60,000, but it said, I think he said the park covered all of the expenses of the medical bills, which rightfully so. Looks like it's all settled and done now, though. Obviously, this was like back in 2009. Let me know, guys, what you think down in the comments section. If you want me to react to more of this kind of stuff, I will do so. I actually genuinely am fascinated by the small things you might not even know about. Just like this Xcelerator disaster for a second. Had no idea this even happened. And the fact that they had footage to show the cable just coming back and hitting the kid. Oh my God. And the kid, yeah, he maintained his composure. I would say he was more of in shock, though, than anything. And he didn't know how to respond to it. Because that just normally, it doesn't happen all the time. So something like that, you know, would surprise anybody. Crazy, crazy. Let me know, you guys, what you think in the comments section. And I'll certainly see you in the next one. Please do take care.
card who can't speak, heart starts as through. You won't be mended.